Both sides of the campaign will have to concentrate on how to convince different groups of voters that their arguments are the right ones. Recent polls suggest support for staying in the EU is strongest among 16 to 24-year-olds. One poll conducted by youth charity the YMCA revealed that almost 3/4 of respondents of that age group said the UK should remain within the EU, with just 11% saying they would opt to leave. We can talk now to Tom Harwood, who's chair of Students for Britain, which supports an EU exit. Mr. Harwood, why are you so out of step with most people of your age group?
You know what? I really don't think we are. I think that number 75% is quite a misleading figure when you talk to people on the ground. What we found when talking to people is that most people just don't really care about the EU. They don't know what it does for them, and as a result, they just kind of default for the status quo. So we're here to argue that actually remaining in the EU is not the status quo. It means handing over more power and more money to Brussels, but also to debunk a lot of myths that are around. A lot of things that are relevant to students, for example, the Erasmus programme, are not just EU programmes. They're open to lots of other countries as well. So we're there to put across the arguments for a really quite apathetic student population.
Maybe people don't care because they don't see it as some kind of burden. It's not really crossed their minds, and therefore, why would they leap in the dark, as the Prime Minister put it?
Well, the vote to remain would be a leap into the dark, handing more power and more money to Brussels. But equally, lots of people don't know what the EU does. When we talk to them about it, they know it's something to do with trade, but aren't necessarily aware that it's run by 28 unelected commissioners, aren't necessarily aware that it costs £350 million a week to be a member of. That's $20 billion a year. That could abolish tuition fees twice over. That could build a hospital every week, a fully staffed hospital in this country. There's lots of issues that people just aren't aware of, so we're putting that case across in a really positive way.
And the other case, obviously, which will be put across by, among others, not just politicians but business people, is if you're a student and you want a job, we should stay in the EU, which is an argument that we will hear a lot of over the next 3 months.
I don't think that's the case. Business opinion is divided. Lots of businesses say that it's a bad thing that EU decides our trade policy. Most businesses would like the UK to take back control of our own trade policy. At the moment, we can't make free trade deals with other countries. Brussels has to do that for us, so we don't have free trade with China, with India, with Brazil, with America, with Australia, all of these growing and developing countries where the EU is just stagnant. So the real opportunities lie outside the EU. Of course we want to trade with the EU and be friendly with the EU, but we want to be a power on the world stage, not just on the European stage.
Does it worry you that the Stay In campaign is led by Prime Minister who's saying this is about our security, both our national security and also our economic security, and the Leave campaign isn't led by anybody? There's actually several Leave campaigns and nobody can quite work out who's in what.
Well, let's just wait and see. I don't think students are going to be convinced by scaremongering from the Prime Minister or a lot of nonsense claims that have been thrown around that have been found to be completely unbased in any sort of reality. I think what students care about are the issues and opportunities that affect them. And so talking about the democratic deficit in the EU, that we can't throw out the people that govern us, talking about the opportunities that lie in the wider world when we can engage fully internationally. You know, climate change won't be solved as a bloc of 28 countries. Climate change will be solved as a world issue, like the summit in Paris last year. That was the world coming together, not just a region.
Tom Harwood, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.